Johnson. He's down to the goal line. He's over.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. And before we get started, just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below or maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, the New York Giants. Why is it so important for the Giants to be able to possibly move up to draft a quarterback in next year's draft if they decide to move on from Daniel Jones? Got my dog here. Now, obviously, we don't know about Daniel Jones, next year. We don't know. I'm just saying if they want to move on from Daniel Jones. We still don't know about his fifth-year option. That's coming up on May 2nd, so that's coming up in a couple weeks. So, that'll tell us, quite a bit about what Joe Schoen and Mr. Dable are thinking about Daniel Jones, period. If they sign him for a fifth-year option, the thing is that they got Tyrod Taylor. So if they do decide to move on from Daniel Jones after this year, you got a capable backup quarterback that can certainly go out there and, take some snaps. No question. He ain't gonna light it up for 50 touchdowns or nothing like that. But he's a very, very good quarterback. So I feel very good that Tyrod Taylor is going to be here for 2 years. Then he also has, the incentives in his contract. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think he's signed for like 11 and a half or so, maybe 12, but the capability of being worth up to 17. So I guess that means if he gets some starts in there and, maybe gets whatever the incentives are, taking the team to the playoffs or getting so many wins or whatever it is. But so, one thing at a time. I said, May 2nd, we're going to certainly find out what, at least what they're kind of thinking about Daniel Jones and, about his future with the Giants. Because I think it's $22 million fully guaranteed that they got to put on a dotted line if they're going to have Daniel Jones back for next year. Now, I wouldn't do it. He showed some flashes, sure, absolutely. Have we kind of screwed him over a little bit? Yeah, with the offensive line, maybe the bad play calling, or Jason Garrett's offense, injuries, Galladay, Kadarius Toney, and Sterling Shepard combined missed 20 games last year. Saquon Barkley getting injured all the time, every year. So, it's been a bunch of things. Daniel Jones certainly hasn't helped himself. Stupid interceptions, sometimes ball security. Sometimes. I've seen him fumble. Holding the ball, getting hit from behind. Some quarterbacks are better. They got that kind of that extra, that ESP kind of thing going on. They kind of have a good sense of what's kind of going on in the pocket. Maybe they know to step up or whatever. Jones doesn't seem to have that. But I've seen Daniel Jones maybe get nailed from the back. It's a little tough to hang on to a ball if you're getting really hit really good in the back. So so that's understandable. But I've also seen him standing, I guess, somebody coming this way, hitting him and knocking the ball, so. And every now and then he throws really bad interceptions. So, he looks like he was taking a step forward last year as far as with the ball security. With Pat Shurmur's offense, his first year, he's 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Looked really good. Had some hope. Our record stunk, but we had some hope for Daniel Jones. Absolutely. The last 2 years, with Jason Garrett's offense, he just wasn't, the numbers just weren't really super spectacular. Okay, but as far as why it's important maybe to move up or be able to move up, all right, in the draft, it helps to have that draft capital to be able to move up. Now, obviously, whoever's wanting to pick a number 1, number 2, number 3 in the draft, a lot of times, not always, a lot of times, why they're picking there is because they don't have a good quarterback. You got Jacksonville. I mean, you can blame this one kind of on Urban Meyer. Again, sucks. Absolute, total trash of an NFL coach. I don't give a rat's rear end what you did in college. It was impressive. You can't do jack, effing, shit in the pros, pal. Absolute garbage of a coach. So, we got to blame some of that on him, without question. Hopefully, they got coming in, with Trevor Lawrence, could be a real good quarterback for time to come. But I mean, they're drafting number 1. They got themselves a quarterback. But I mean, a lot of times when you're drafting, that high, a lot of it is because you got, bad quarterback play. Now, I mean, it doesn't matter for the most part. I mean, like if you got Aaron Rodgers, you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Tom Brady. If things go bad, you get a bunch of injuries and stuff like that, maybe they won't make the playoffs. Absolutely. But I'd have you'd have to have a bunch of kindergartners out there running around for Tom Brady not to make, get 4, 5, 6 wins. You'd have to have a whole bunch of injuries, for Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, some of the upper class quarterbacks, not to, have a few wins, So basically, if you got a real good quarterback, chances are you're not drafting that low. So obviously it goes hand in hand. Bad record, a lot of times bad quarterback play. All right. So now that I'm just going by the first rounders, okay, here from going to go back to 20 to 2010, okay. Because usually, not always, but usually that's where the top quarterbacks are being drafted at. The first round. All right. There's a Tom Brady here. There's a Dak Prescott there. There's Russell Wilson here. Some guys that do pretty darn good. Like Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, going to be going into the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure about Dak, but every now and then you'll find somebody. I think Brett Favre was drafted in the second round. But every now and then you'll get somebody who gets drafted not in the first round, a quarterback. All right, but gets drafted in the later rounds. It winds up turning out to be pretty good. But for the most part, most of the good quarterbacks, I said, pros miss. Yeah, they scouting, and it's a tough position sometimes to really nail down when you go out there scouting. Just because they're drafted in the first round doesn't mean they're surefire hits. Okay, so I'm just kind of talking about the first rounders since 2010, the quarterbacks since 2010 have been drafted in the first round. There's been 39 of them. Okay, in the first round, and of the 39, okay. We got 34 of the 39, okay, they were drafted pretty much from 2020, okay. It's tough to really the quarterbacks who were drafted in 2021, it's really kind of tough to say they're a franchise quarterback or they're definitely going to be good, or none of them look like Dan Marino, what he did in his rookie season. So it's kind of tough to really say, this guy's going to be exceptional. I can, pretty much all of them, put question marks kind of next to all of them. We'll go over them all, okay? But out of the 34 out of 39 quarterbacks that were taken in the first round since 2010, I'm going to go from 2010 to 2020, right, and go over all the quarterbacks. Now, of those, the 34 quarterbacks, we're going to go over, the ones that seem to really either be a franchise quarterback or seem to be pretty decent. There's a little theory kind of, theme kind of going on here with these quarterbacks, all right? And that's why it's very important for the Giants to get some firepower. I mean, unless the Giants are going to wind up going 2-15 and get the first overall pick, we hope that don't happen. But if the Giants, don't get the first overall pick, it's going to be important for them to get some firepower, to do some, be able to trade up, get a quarterback that they want, okay? Now, let me read over this list, okay, and then we'll take it from there. 2010, the first quarterback. First overall pick was Sam Bradford. 2010, it was only 2 quarterbacks taken in the first round in 2010. You got Sam Bradford and Tim Tebow, right? 2011, you had four quarterbacks taken in the first round. Cam Newton, Jake Locker, Blaine Gabbert, and Christian Ponder. 2012, you had 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round of the 2012 draft. You had Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin, Ryan Tannehill, and Brandon Weeden. And you got, with Robert Griffin, he led the Washington Redskins to the playoffs, and he got hurt. His knee took a horrible shot. He was just never quite the same after that. Now, would he ever been a super unbelievable quarterback? Tough to say, but he did good. He did decent. His numbers were not unbelievably spectacular, but he took them to the playoffs. Right? But 2013 was a real bad class. Weak in the first round. You got one guy, E.J. Manuel. The Buffalo Bills took him. 2014, you had 3 quarterbacks. You had Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, and Teddy Bridgewater taken in the first round as far as quarterbacks. 2015, you had just 2. Pick 1, pick 2. Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota taken in 2015 in the first round. 2016, you had 3. You had Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, and Paxton Lynch. 3 quarterbacks were taken in the first round of the 2016 draft. 2017 draft, you had 3. Mitch Trubisky, pick number 2. Patrick Mahomes, and Deshaun Watson. 2018, you had 5. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and Lamar Jackson. 2018, 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. 2019, you had 3. Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, and Dwayne Haskins were taken in the 2019 NFL Draft. 2020, you had 4. Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, and Jordan Love. 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft. Okay. And then I'll read off the 5. This will make the 39 quarterbacks that were taken, okay, in the first round from 2010 to 2021, right? 2021, the first round, you had Trevor Lawrence, pick number 1. Pick number 2 was Zach Wilson. Pick number 3 was Trey Lance. Justin Fields, pick number 11. And Mac Daddy Jones, pick number 15. Right? Now, out of this, they've only had 1 year, okay? Trevor Lawrence, not super spectacular, but as I said, their team is not loaded with talent. Their coach, Urban Meyer, was an absolute, total, human piece of trash of a coach. Absolute joke. So, that could certainly have hindered Trevor Lawrence's abilities, okay? But you can't say, Urban Meyer was there and this. So Trevor Lawrence is definitely a franchise quarterback. It's kind of tough to say. It's a little early. You got Zach Wilson, number 2, with the Jets. You can't say that. You certainly can't say his career was over or not, But, he did not have a super spectacular year last year. But it's too early to say that he's a bust. And it's too early to say that, you can maybe say maybe he can turn it around and head in the right direction. So you don't know with him either. Trey Lance, there's not enough, film on him. They want to get rid of Jimmy G, okay, and put Trey Lance in. Shanahan believes a lot in Trey Lance, but it's not just because Shanahan believes in him and all that. And they got him at number 3 and all. Well, he's definitely a franchise. You don't know. I have no idea. Trey Lance is a franchise quarterback. You got Justin Fields. Chicago traded up with the Giants, to number 11. Justin Fields looks like a very nice quarterback. Love his toughness, all that stuff and everything. But I mean, after last season, I mean, nice. I mean, Chicago maybe wasn't the greatest team in the world and all that. But I mean, he had some moments. But I can't say either way. I'm not going to certainly ain't going to say he's a bust. Absolutely not. But I'm not going to stand there and say, after last year, I think got himself some really good quarterback here. It's a little early. And then Mac Daddy Jones. He fell to the Patriots at number 15. Early on, I understand that he made some very nice throws, without question. Some very nice throws there. It seemed like some of the throws, they were kind of like, I mean, a rookie quarterback kind of babying him, maybe some shorter passes. I said he did make some very nice throws there. However, a lot of that was early on. It seemed like as the season kind of rolled along, it seemed like he might have struggled a little bit more and a little bit more, kind of maybe as the season wore on. So it'll be very interesting to see how he does this year coming up. Because, I mean, as I said, can't take none. He made some very good throws. But, I mean, it also seemed to kind of baby him. Maybe some easier passes, shorter passes and all. But then they start putting film out, and the other team's defense, they can see what you can do and what maybe you can't do. And, they start taking things away from you. He did kind of struggle a little bit toward the end of the season. So it's kind of tough to say either way with him. So we're going to disregard these 5 guys, okay, that got taken here, all right. But out of the other 34 guys, the other 34 quarterbacks taken from the first round from the 2010 draft to the 2020 draft, 34 quarterbacks, okay. So of all of those quarterbacks, all right, I'm going to read off some guys here. I think that are either franchise quarterbacks with their original team that drafted them, or I mean, there were, a couple of these guys, are now been traded around. One of them took a team to a Super Bowl. One helped take the team to a Super Bowl. Didn't play in the Super Bowl, but he was playing like an MVP caliber, and then he got hurt. I'll go over that, but I mean, all these quarterbacks here that I'm going to read off, okay, who've been pretty successful. All right, they got a couple things in common. All right, they're either one or the other. Right, so they all kind of have things in common. All right, I'm going to Cam Newton, right, the number 1 pick in the 2011 draft. Yeah, he was a franchise quarterback. Went to the Super Bowl. Right, he was a good quarterback. Right, Andrew Luck, number 1 pick in the 2012 draft. Good quarterback. Just shame, he got injured. He kept getting hit all the time, injuries, and he retired early. It's a shame. Shame for him. It's a shame for football. Shame for us football fans because you have a really good quarterback. His career ended way too early. I mean, my God, this will only be his 11th season, I think, coming up. I mean, he should still have another 4, 5, 6 years worth of football. But injuries take your toll. It is what it is. But Andrew Luck, very good quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater, number 32. In the 2014 draft. I mean, he had a horrible injury, right? But he started for the Vikings, took them to the the playoffs. I'm sorry. He started with Denver. Not a phenomenal, but a decent quarterback, good with the football, intelligent. All right, a nice quarterback. Nothing super spectacular, but a nice quarterback. Unlike some of these other guys like, Josh Rosen or Blaine Bortles and, Paxton Lynch, all right? Then we got Jameis Winston, the number 1 pick in the 2015 draft. Now, once again, not super, but he threw for over 5,000 yards. He can throw you into a game. He can throw you out of a game. He does throw some interceptions, but, I mean, he started for Tampa Bay. He's starting for the Saints. He might be their starting quarterback this year. It wasn't a super. I mean, there was only like the 2 quarterbacks in that draft. I mean, in the first round of 2015, you got Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston. That's all. That's what you had. So I mean, he for Tampa Bay, he did a nice job. All right, he had over 5,000 yards passing 1 year. So I mean, he can throw the football. All right, he can certainly throw the football. Now I'm saying, I mean, has he been loaded with talent? I mean, was Jameis Winston okay, when he was playing with the Bucs, was he loaded with talent like the way Tom Brady is? With Tom Brady's defense and his offensive line, the wide receivers he has, was he? No, I don't think so. So, sometimes it depends upon that, Now, when you're playing, not what team you're playing for, but when you're playing for them. Because sometimes, I said, they loaded Tom Brady up with, wide receivers, great offensive line, Leonard Fournette behind it. The defense was very good. Jameis Winston, I certainly had some qualities to him. All right, then you got Jared Goff in the 2016 draft. He went to the Super Bowl. Right? Carson Wentz, the number 2 pick in the 2016 draft. He helped it. He was like an MVP candidate, and then he got injured. He led the Eagles to a really good record. He got injured, and of course he didn't want to make it in the Super Bowl. Okay, but he helped. He first couple of years, he was doing pretty good. He seemed to kind of lose it a little bit of lately, but he had a couple good years there, without question. As I said, he helped take the Eagles, in the direction of the Super Bowl, right, until he got injured, right? And you got Patrick Mahomes, number 10, the 2017 draft. Deshaun Watson, number 12, the 2017 draft. I don't think I need to say anything. Of course, Josh Allen, number 7 of the 2018 draft. You don't have to say anything more about those guys. Lamar Jackson, number 32 of the 2018 draft. Franchise quarterback. Kyler Murray, number 1 overall pick in the 2019 draft. He's trying to get paid. If he don't get paid, he wants to go someplace else. I don't know if he's worth $40 million a year or whatever like that. They gave him some good wide receivers and all and everything. So I don't know how well he'll wind up faring. Maybe if you put him on the Giants offense, I'm not so sure how well he'll wind up doing. But number one, he took them to the playoffs, right? So good quarterback. All right, then you got Joe Burrow, number 1 pick of the 2020. Right, the Cincinnati Bengals. He was the number 1 overall pick, right? And then you got Justin Herbert. All right, Justin Herbert, the number 6 pick of the 2020 draft. Then you got Tua. We can throw him in there too if you want. The number 5 pick of the 2020 draft to the Dolphins, all right? Now, out of all of those guys that I just raffled off there, some are really, really good. Some, certainly had their moments with their original teams and all and everything. I said, like Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff took them to the Super Bowl. Out of all of those guys, okay, you can say Justin Herbert, okay, or if you want to throw Tua in there, Tua Tagovailoa, if you want to throw him in there too, okay. But out of all those guys, I just rattled. Let me hear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 14 guys if you put 2 in there. So out of those 14 guys, 2 of them, if you want to say Tua and Justin Herbert, okay, 2 of those 14 guys were not a number 1 pick or they were not traded up for. So, right, since 2010, 34 quarterbacks out of the ones I raffled off there to get really good quarterbacks. There's different levels. Really, really good. Like Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen. And then there's, obviously guys that are maybe not quite as good. Obviously, like maybe a Carson Wentz or Jameis Winston or something like that. But really, good quarterbacks, right? Out of those 14 I just rattled off, there's just 2 of them that weren't traded up for or were number 1 picks. All right, 2014, I mentioned Cam Newton's a number 1 pick. Andrew Luck was the number 1 pick. Teddy Bridgewater. All right, the Vikings traded up traded with Seattle, number 32, to get Teddy Bridgewater. Jared Goff was the number 1 pick, but the Rams traded up to the number 1 pick with Tennessee to get him. Carson Wentz, the Eagles traded up to Cleveland to get the number 2 pick in the 2016 draft. Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs traded up to number 10 with Buffalo to get Patrick Mahomes. Let's see. Then you got Deshaun Watson. Okay, the Texans traded up to Cleveland, number 12, to get him. Josh Allen, the Bills traded up to Tampa, number 7, to get him. Kyler Murray was the number 1 pick. Joe Burrow was the number 1 pick. All right. So basically, out of all of those guys that I raffled off, either they were a number 1 pick or teams traded up to get them. So that's why it's so important for the Giants to get some, unless the Giants are going to go 3-14 or 2-15 or something like that, all right, and get the number 1 overall pick, number 1 or number 2, right, and get themselves a shot at getting a quarterback. Other than that, if they're done with Daniel Jones, they got Tyrod Taylor maybe for 1 more year, all right. If they want to get themselves a franchise quarterback next year, there's kind of 2 of them. All right, you got C.J. Stroud of Ohio State, and you got Bryce Young from Alabama. Those are like the top 2. There's other guys coming out too. It's supposed to be a nice, good draft. But if you're trying to get, maybe one of those top 2 quarterbacks, you think just really might wind up just, setting things off. I mean, we got C.J. Stroud. This is from a website. He's a highly talented dual threat quarterback who could end up as a first-round prospect and perhaps the top of round number 1. He won Ohio State's starting quarterback position in 2021 following Justin Fields' departure to the NFL. Stroud then completed 72% of his passes on a year for 4,435 yards, 44 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. He was a dominant passer, showing good accuracy and the ability to push the ball vertically. Now, it does help that he has 2 first-round wide receivers going in this year's draft. So we'll have to see how he plays out this year. But then you got Bryce Young of Alabama. Young took over Alabama's starting quarterback job in 2021 and created a lot of excitement in the scouting community. Some sources with college teams believed he could end up being a better college quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa or Mac Daddy Jones. Some NFL sources said Young's skill set and style of play reminded them of Kyler Murray's. In 2021, Young completed 67% of his passes, 4,872 yards, 47 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. So you got some good possibility quarterbacks there going in the top 1, 2, 3 picks. Now, if the Giants are not gonna, get the number 1 overall pick, which we're kind of hoping they don't, they better get themselves some draft capital and have the chance of trading up. That's why they can trade out of number 5 or maybe trade out of number 7 and get maybe an additional first-round pick for next year, just in case they want to go and get themselves a quarterback. That would be so advantageous to them. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!